The story of Prometheus is about an etiological myth, and it shows a giant that stood for human progression even in the adversity of nature. Prometheus stood up for the humans even when Jupiter said that they were wicked. In the beginning of this story, you learn that Prometheus isn't very welcomed by his giant brother, so he runs off and tries to give humanity the gifts of fire and hope. This shows us how hope can help us keep on pushing through tough times, while the fire shows us where the source of technology came in, and it makes success in the world a lot easier than it was before. As seen in the story of Prometheus, it says, "After this, all the other creatures were afraid of man, for this red flower had made him stronger than they. Man dug iron out of the earth, and by the help of this new fire made weapons that were sharper than the lion's teeth. He tamed the wild cattle by fear of it, yoked them together, and taught them how to draw the plow. He sharpened strong stakes, hardened them in its heat, and set them around his house as a defense from his enemies."
As he said, this myth was used to explain history in a sense. The Greeks noticed that humans were different from other animals. While not physically dominant, they often overcame the animals. So they explained this discrepancy through the story of Prometheus, who gave man fire. With this divine spark, humanity was able to overcome the darkness in other living things and brought about a civilization. Due to this myth, Prometheus was venerated in the Greek world as a patron of civilization, fire, and trickery, with a close association with culture and science. Ironically, the Greeks also worshipped Jupiter as their king god, and even though he was the one who punished Prometheus. This sets up the Greek theology of competing gods whose morality was subjective. This understanding of history did not exist in a vacuum, thus it had great implications for Greek morality and values.
I'm going to be talking about what kind of values our document puts forward. There's three main values. The first is wisdom and forethought, the second is strength, and the third is compassion. First of all, wisdom and forethought. The Titans, specifically Prometheus and his brother, viewed wisdom and forethought as superior to strength. Prometheus was the wisest among the Titans, and this is part of the reason the gods won the war, because Prometheus helped them overcome the Titans. The next value is strength. The Titans possessed great strength, but were lawless and chaotic, which ultimately led to their defeat. And the last value I'm going to talk about is compassion. There's multiple examples of compassion in this document, and Prometheus had a soft spot for the men on Earth because he too was from Earth. He demonstrated this by pleading with Jupiter to let mankind live, even though Jupiter hated the human race and found them foolish and wicked. Prometheus's compassion paid off, and Jupiter agreed to spare mankind. Prometheus also demonstrated compassion by helping the humans build houses and by stealing them fire from Jupiter.